Hi folks, we're going to take a look now at the third step in the training process, which is actually implementing your training program. One of the things we want to do is make sure that we put forward a program that people are going to like, right? So the first thing we want to do is we want to develop an agenda for the training. So we want to make sure that we understand what's going to be covered and what the topics are going to be in the training and how long we're going to spend in each topic. And the one thing that most people recommend, and I mean, having done training myself for many years, I can certainly recommend that you should do pilot training session to see what people liked and didn't like, particularly if it's going to be a training program where you're going to train a lot of people. So say you have a new training program for your sales reps, for example, and you've got, maybe a thousand reps you got to train. You want to make sure that you start off with a pilot of them or group of them, right? Even if you had 500 reps, 100 reps, you don't want to waste the time of 100 people plus the time of a trainer, especially if that trainer is you, or even if you have a role to play in that training, and then find that they didn't like it. So we recommend doing a pilot, which means you're going to take a small sampling, maybe of those, say, 100 sales reps that you have. You might want to take maybe 10 of them and put them on the program and deliver it to them so that you can find out what they liked, what they didn't like, and if the training was effective in meeting its objectives. So you might give the trainees an opportunity to go back to their workplace, try out some of the training, and then have a meeting with them subsequently and say like what worked, what didn't, what are you having problems with, and then you can revise the program. But at least you haven't trained all those people. You've only trained a small number of them. So you have time to train the rest of the sales reps to make changes in the program so that the rest of them will get a really solid program. In fact, what we always find too is that anybody who participated in the pilot probably wants to come back and do the program as you've changed it. So it's a good thing to do because you wouldn't have wasted your time in training everybody. The next thing we want to look at, the fourth step, is really transferring the learning. This really refers more to bringing it back to the workplace and applying it. So what we normally do at the end of a training program is we might get the people in the program to sit in groups and discuss, how they think they can take the training back to their workplace. We might ask them to think about questions like, what kinds of challenges do you think you will have applying some of the learning that you learned in this training session? Sometimes they might say, oh, my boss might not be, positive on it. And, we kind of try and work with them as trainers to figure out, well, how can we help them overcome some of these obstacles that they're identifying if they've got a challenging boss to deal with, or maybe their customers might not like certain things about the way they're going to be selling in the future or whatever, and how can we help them overcome it? So we kind of try and develop solutions at the end of the training to help them overcome some challenges. Okay, we also try and encourage them to set goals even before that, with some of these strategies we set in place to help them overcome some of the challenges, to say now how are you going to use your training on the job and how you're going to overcome some of the challenges, like what are you going to do. So it usually is a good process. The other thing we want to do is we want to make sure that we have our trainees assess the training program. So did they think that the training was good? So we have an example in your textbook of a little survey that can be used, and you can give this to your trainees at the end of the session. Now, of course, they respond anonymously to it, and they can give you some ideas as to how they think you can change your program to make it more user-friendly for trainees in the future. There might be some areas they thought, oh, you talked too much on this, or you didn't handle some things enough, or talk about some other things enough. Maybe they might want to comment on some of the activities, some of the training activities you used, and how they thought you might want to incorporate some different ones. There's also the opportunity to test or assess what they learned. So you can give them a little multiple choice test at the end to see what they learned, even their behavior. When they get back to the workplace, you can ask the boss, particularly if the boss is supportive of the training, and ask the trainees themselves, do you think your behavior changed as a result of the training? And if so, how? And if not, why not? And then, of course, the results. If the training was put into place for a particular reason,